there must be some way that Israel could make nice with the people next door. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if it's like if they have to go on camping trips together, state-sponsored. There has to have been some way. There has to be some way to make these people get along with each other better. There has to be some way to do this. The reality is that the regime change war that we just engaged in with Iran is just wholly and completely unacceptable on every level. The morally correct solution is the U.S. should leave unconditionally and just fuck off, because the U.S. had no right to engage in a massive regime change war that could have destroyed the entire fucking region for the next decade with 50 million fucking refugees. Not only was it an illegal war, it was a war that we sucked at, and we just showed Iran that they have this huge, massive fuck you button to the entire world. So, like, I don't even know by what position the United States or Israel can even negotiate and say, you know, well, how about this? Like, if Hezbollah stops attacking us, then we'll stop, you know, I don't even know how to, I just don't know how to compute any of it. I'm not sure.
This is what the situation looks like right now in real time.
Whoa,
Ships are lining up to
everywhere.
pay the toll and cross the strait, but the number of vessels going in and out is considerably...
You know what they say now? You know what they say when you're trying to go through the Strait of Hormuz?
What do they say, man?
You know what they say when you're trying to get through? Now Iran looks at you and they go like, aye! And then they point over and they go, Atola. Because you got to pay a toll to get through, get it? Oh!
Israel, and particularly Netanyahu's government, has many vulnerabilities and shortcomings. Mainly, none of the battlefield victories that Israel has scored in recent years have translated into political gains. None. Israel has been unable to decisively crush Iran, Hezbollah, or even Hamas. And so Netanyahu needs Trump's support now more than ever. But the two have wildly different interests.
Is that really true? Is that the feeling on the ground? I thought Netanyahu kind of saved his ad. I thought he was like, I feel like there was a string of military victories that Israel had, but before that, I thought Netanyahu's popularity was kind of shaky. And then they did the Hezbollah thing. I think they did some big Hamas, I think it was an Al-Shifa hospital raid or something thing. Fuck, and then I think there was one more thing, I don't remember.
Were they doing like Houthi shit?
Oh, maybe. It might have been a Houthi thing.
And those discrepancies are steadily surfacing as we're now entering the endgame phase. The real test is now the Iran-US negotiations and how they're moving toward a memorandum of understanding. And based on what we know from open source intelligence, the new deal with Iran will be perceived by Israeli policymakers, including Netanyahu and his political opponents, as a lose-lose. This graph shows the main
understanding means nothing, right?
The black dots.
It's just like, this is where we want to start the negotiations.
I mean, like for a conventional government, they're important because it signals to the public like what the parameters are for like a negotiation or whatever. So, but I mean, for this one, I don't know. Do you know how many trade deals we have since all the Liberation Day tariffs?
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
So I mean, so yeah, I don't know what I don't know what anything means for this admin. Have we rebuilt Gaza yet? By the way, after we made that board and everything else.
What about the board of peace? Yeah. I don't know. Pretty wacky. What's going to be really annoying is the next president who comes in is going to have to clean all of this fucking dog shit up.
Yeah.
Present US positions, while the red ones illustrates Iran's. The sticking points range from Iran's nuclear program and the Strait of Hormuz to sanctions relief and security guarantees, but also ceasefire in Lebanon and war reparations. The deal Trump is working on will have the Iranian theocracy and the IRGC remain in place. In fact, the post-war government in Tehran will be even more hardline than before, and there will be no conditions for regime change down the line. What's more, the Iranian government is now more cohesive than ever before, and above all, they've set a precedent by withstanding a major US attack, and while doing so, coming up with a new weapon of deterrence, namely the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. Equally important, despite the massive US bombing campaign, Iran has shown that no country can impose serious restrictions on its nuclear infrastructure. Let me quickly
it's just like more, it's just dumb to talk about, but like this is stuff you usually have to make up propaganda for. Like you have to usually make up some story about how you beat the US in some fucking conflict, and it's like a whole bunch of fucking cope and shit, and you just kind of hope you can sell it to your people. Yeah, the idea that, but the fact that they actually did is just, it is so, like, if 100 years from now, there's like a new fucking Persian regime that stretches across the fucking Eurasian, whatever, like, it's the starting moment will be this conflict. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Total Iranian victory.
Unironic, well, yeah, but it's like, it's even like more of a victory than ever. Like, I just can't even imagine how fucking it's just, whatever, dude.
So, Natanz, for instance, which is here, was bombed quite heavily, but it's already showing signs of restoration. Meanwhile, Pickaxe Mountain, which is to its south, is believed to hold the missing 400 kilos of enriched uranium. 60% enriched to be exact, which is very close to weapons grade in technical terms. With just a little more refining, Iran will have enough material to make about a dozen bombs, nuclear bombs. But Pickaxe Mountain is too deep for even the most sophisticated bunker buster, so it was largely left intact. Anyway, the fact that Iran survived months of unseen levels of bombardment has set an important precedent. What we have now is an Iran that is more confident than before, more willing to take risks.
Sorry, what? Hold on.
Iran will have enough material to make about a dozen bombs, nuclear bombs. But Pickaxe Mountain is too deep for even the most sophisticated bunker buster, so it was largely left intact. Anyway, the fact that Iran survived months of unseen levels...
Wait, what have you never heard before?
That we left a mountain full of uranium that's too deep for bunker busters? That it sounds like they're still refining? Am I not picking it up right?
There was, I think, on our last things, we blew up a bunch of centrifuges, but I don't think we got
we did that
all
at
of
Isfahan
the...
and Fordo.
Yeah, but I don't think we got all of the enriched uranium.
No, we didn't get it out yet, but I think what he's talking about is there's another place that they are enriching uranium that we didn't bomb, is what it sounds like.
Oh, were they actively enriching it? Oh.
That's what it sounded like. I don't know.
North Korea 2.0. I feel like Iran is a far more sophisticated nation and actor than North Korea. Maybe it's just too much fucking propaganda or whatever from the West, but like North Korea to me just comes off as kind of like a baby state that only survives at the whims of Chinese support because China doesn't want to deal with the insane fucking fallout of a completely fucked North Korea and everything that would like result from that. I mean, Iran has had to deal with their own shit in a region that has been largely hostile towards them for quite a while, where it's hostile towards them in a way where the opposition is backed by the largest, military on the planet, and then all their intelligence, everything that follows from that. So I don't know. I think Iran is a far more sophisticated actor than North Korea.
Are you surprised that China let North Korea get nuclear weapons?
I would have to go through the history of when they acquired it and everything. I'm not 100% sure on that.
But what is a decade or two in the grand scheme of things, really? For Israel,
They're
this is a
also,
nightmare. It's a Pyrrhic victory.
I'm trying to think. I was going to say geostrategically, they're in a better spot as well, too, in the Gulf. Although theoretically, if North Korea started like attacking Japan or some shit. But the problem too is that like North Korea is a bit like they're kind of restrained in the same way that Israel was kind of sort of restrained by being a friend of the U.S. Like I don't think China wants North Korea to start doing a whole bunch of unhinged crazy shit because that's not in China's interest right now.
Iran doesn't really have that.
Yeah, Iran has no restraining. I mean, their only other restraining thing before maybe it would have been Russia. But I mean, Russia has their own fuck shit right now, so
they're a bit busy.
Now, for clarity, the Israelis do not fear a bad agreement because it ends the war. They fear a bad agreement because it could leave Iran as a threshold nuclear state and allow it to grow stronger over the years and eventually attack Israel at a time and place of its choosing. That is strategically dangerous for the state of Israel, existentially even. Let's just go to the country real quick. You see, Israel has a terrible geography. At its widest point, that would be here, it is only about 110 kilometers across. But at its narrowest point, here in the north, the distance from the West Bank to the sea is only 17 kilometers. And this right here tells you everything you need to know. It is precisely for this reason that Israel will never relinquish control of the West Bank and allow for the formation of an independent Palestinian state. Without the West Bank, Israel has no strategic depth whatsoever. 17 kilometers leaves no space to withdraw, regroup, and counterattack. Strategic depth is essential for national security. It determines how much time one has to recover from an initial attack. Space and time are perhaps the two most important components to warfare. Heck, even with the West Bank, Israel only has 63 kilometers of depth. But without the West Bank, its existence becomes close to impossible. And this is also why the Israelis keep expanding settlements into the West Bank. It has no plans of relinquishing control. Here's what the situation looks like as of now. Area B is where there is civilian Palestinian control, but with Israeli security. There is no territorial cohesion to speak of. The West Bank today is just a collection of loose clusters. And that's precisely the point. When there is no geographic continuity, there cannot be an independent state. Anyway, the point is that Israel cannot tolerate defeat at its borders. A setback would only give it at most 110 kilometers in which to retreat, and this geographic vulnerability shapes just about everything in Israeli military doctrine. Since the day of its inception, Israel has had to prevent attacks by initiating combat, by preemptively hitting its neighbors, and defeating hostile forces early in a war. The only time the Israelis were caught off guard was during the 1973 attack by Egypt and Syrians, which had been armed and coordinated by the Soviet Union. Israel was on the verge of being overrun, and the only thing that saved the country was the fact that the Egyptians, the Syrians, and the Soviets had not anticipated early success, and the forces on the ground were stunned as what to do next, which gave the Israelis the necessary time to regroup and counterattack. Israel won that war, but
what?
The only reason that they won is because the Egyptians and everybody else didn't foresee success, so they were just stunned on the ground and didn't know what to do after.
I'm pretty sure the closer conversation, or at least from what I've seen from the Israeli side, was that Israel was basically, by this point, they had acquired a nuclear weapon. And I think the ambassador to the United States was in talks with the United States because they were like, hey, our shit's about to get fucked. And also, like, we might have to start nuking
We're
motherfuckers.
about to nuke these
Maybe,
motherfuckers.
but not really. Some people overplay this like they were threatening, like, we're going to nuke if you don't help us. But then I think that after the start of that 73 war, I think it was 3 days in, the United States embarked on, like, this was like when the United States went into big, like, we're going to literally carry the fuck out of this country. And I think we were replacing 100% of their armor losses and resupplying them in other ways after the first, like, 3 days
that's
of
when
that war.
the 70 more billion to Israel started.
Yeah, that's when, like, the big support started, yeah. I've never heard the
We're gonna
Arabs
nuke 'em.
were so far ahead. I've never heard the Arabs were
Okay.
so far ahead they didn't know what to do. I haven't heard that one before.
The problem is when people put, like, retarded shit like this in videos, it just makes me question the rest of the video.
Maybe, yeah. Sounds like Israel was having difficulty, so it was considering nuking them, no? Well, not just difficulties. I mean, it was a sneak attack. I think they attacked on Yom Kippur, right? That's why they call it the Yom Kippur War. But I think there were a lot of, I mean, obviously for any war, there's going to be a lot of reasons why things happen the way they do. But I think some people blamed the arrogance a bit of the Israeli military because keep in mind the 67 war was right before that, ban everybody. And they basically, beat the shit out of everybody around them. So I think Israel felt itself was a bit untouchable. I've mentioned this term a lot because it comes up a lot in early Israeli writing, that the rib cage of Tel Aviv, when they talk about like that really narrow range between the West Bank and the Mediterranean. Mm-hmm. I agree that I do think Israel thinks about this a lot, but I do feel like it's kind of retarded. Back when Israel was fighting for its existence, in the 40s, like people having artillery and being able to literally shell like the entirety of your fucking country, like if you sat on top of the Golan Heights, if you were fighting from the West Bank, you could attack like so much into Israel, and all of your retreat routes were fucked. All of your movement was fucked. Your ability to regroup was fucked. Like everything was just fucked from all of these incredibly advantageous positions. I just feel like Israel is just not under that kind of threat anymore. Are we talking about like an Iranian army that is being dropped off in the country of Jordan and then crossing? Man, I would be impressed if I could remember the name of that stupid bridge. It was fought over a few times too. But like, are they going to cross into the West Bank and start fighting Israel from like the West Bank of the Jordan River? I don't know. I just don't like that, but whatever.
Most notably right now is the Israeli push into Lebanon. The Israelis are looking to exercise control up to the Litani River, thereby limiting access to Israel itself by non-state actors such as Hezbollah. However, the problem with this is that even with the amount of territory taken as buffer, it is still not enough to eliminate the threat posed by Hezbollah and groups like it. New weapons continue to develop. Think of hypersonic missiles, fiber optic drones, high-energy lasers, AI-enabled systems, and much more. These weapons will stress the Israeli military to its limits. Meanwhile,
what I would be worried about if I was Israel, and I don't know how much people think about this or what the status is around the world for people like thinking about this, is imagine if after the Ukraine-Russia stuff is settled, imagine if all of the Iranian proxies begin to engage in a similar type of drone warfare against Israel. That seems like it would be a fucking nightmare to deal with, to have that shit constantly coming into your country. I don't know.
The drone shit?
Yeah, I don't know how much. It's like David's Sling or something, whatever the fuck. I don't know how much those interceptors could actually deal with drones that are like highly maneuverable. I'm not sure. The Iron Dome would more than likely be okay for drones. Really? How much does an average? What are they called? It's not Takbir interceptors. I feel like it's an Arab thing. What am I thinking of? Because remember, at the end of the day, it's a cost thing. It's not a matter of like, can they intercept it? Like, is it physically possible? It's a matter of, do you have like a cost-efficient weapon that you can use to intercept the drones?
Israel is trying to preserve freedom of action against Hezbollah, even as the United States tries to preserve the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon.
Nuke, but I think Israel is probably the one that you got to be the most fucking worried about. Because if they start getting like droned every fucking week,
yeah, but I don't think
handle it.
It's as much as everybody likes to pretend they're not. Israel is a democracy. I don't think the people would be okay with starting to nuke people or whatever. Depending on, I mean, I guess like maybe could get pushed to a point, but
yeah, hopefully other people would come in before then.
Yeah, I don't think.
God, I hate nukes.
That would happen at all. Does Israel not know how to do politics? I feel like they regressed to like the big Arab neighbors that they had like in the past. Like I feel like the big issue with the Arabs when Israel was first starting was that they really didn't know how to do politics at all. And all the Jewish people coming in had like the mega politics mind. But now when I look at Israel over the last like 20, 25 years, and I look at their existence in that region of the world, do Israelis know how to do politics with other countries? Like, can they not? Or what? I don't understand. I feel like they operate just with absolutely no care or concern whatsoever for
I mean, they did politics with Trump.
Not.
They convinced him.
They played him like a fucking retard.
Yeah, they played him like a fiddle.
They're all Mizrahi now? Jesus Christ. Wait, are you Jewish?
What does that mean? Mizrahi.
There's like 7 layers of like funny memes related to the fact that, like when we talk about like gay rights in the United States, we don't really talk about how like minorities, like black people in the United States don't really like gay people.
Yeah.
When we talk about like racism and stuff that exists in Israel, and people are like, Israelis are racist even against like dark-skinned Jews because there's colorism and all that. That is true, and historically it's a part of that country. But there's also kind of like the funny fact that the most kind of like radicalish people in that country are actually some of the like darker skinned, and their ethnic origin would be like Mizrahi or whatever. So I think more like the Mizrahis tend to be more far right than the Ashkenazi Jews or whatever in that country. But it's just like a whole fucking retarded thing. Oh, this is fucking retarded. Somebody got mad at me for posting this. I don't know if you can read this text, but
white people are being replaced in Israel.
I think all of this is basically true, but.
Okay. Oh, that fucking guy.
It's, I mean, it's like it's unfortunately, yeah, but that's
Train
like
rod, but true.
it's you'd have to open up. There's like 20 different like offensive boxes of like identity politics to get through to even begin to talk about that. So this is like a seriously deep conversation about Israeli society in the Middle East that most people in the West just don't even know anything about and aren't equipped to have. It just gets into because there's a lot of weird implications too. So, like for instance. So one thing I scream about a lot is that like Jew doesn't refer to the religion. It refers to like an ethnicity of people, right? It's like Jewish is not like actually the religion.
Yeah.
It's a people. That's true, but that's actually only really partially true. I think Jew is more like a even saying this actually triggers some Jews. It's more of an what would you call this? Like an ethno-national concept, not even an ethno-state, but an ethno-national concept, because there are different like well-recognized ethnic separations within Jewish people. So, for instance, like Ashkenazi Jews that came from Europe they look white, right? This is like the stereotypical Brooklyn Jew that people like Hassan say, go back home, go out of here, and that's what they envision all Jewish people to look like is the Ashkenazi Jewish people who are the white Europeans with the high IQ and all that bullshit that are from Brooklyn, right? They say that are from Europe. But you also have like the Mizrahi Jews who make up the majority of the country, the majority of the Jewish people in the country now. If you go to Israel today, more people will look like an Arab than look like fucking Hassan, who looks like a white man. But that's because after the diaspora came back and after all of the Israel independence and then all the wars, more and more of the Middle Eastern Jews who probably absorbed some things from like Arab societies and their ways of living and everything came back to Israel. And those people tend to be far more like religiously driven and not, well, I'll just say religiously driven.
Not have like Western ideals or
yeah,
whatever.
let's go with that. Yeah, without trying to say like one culture is better than the other or whatever. But yeah, but there's like, there's a lot to unpack there. Yeah. For your earlier question, it depends on what we consider Israel doing politics. They've normalized relations with basically all of their important neighbors and even now have a Syria that is outside of Iran's orbit. Abraham Accords, as much as you meme on them, established ties with the UAE. When I say it's like doing things with their neighbors, I don't mean normalize relations. I mean like on a what you really want is you want to have like strong relationships with your neighbors so that you could count on them for things beyond just like not killing you. And sometimes I feel like, and I understand I'm just saying this, like it would be hard to do this in practice, of course, but when it comes to things like Lebanon, my God, it would be so nice from the Israeli perspective if they actually had like some kind of sign off or some kind of like positive signaling from neighboring Arab states. Like the reality is,
people being excited of them like attacking Hezbollah,
kind of, yeah. Like I don't remember who said this, but like it used to be that Lebanon was a country with a militia. Back when Hezbollah, and I think it was in the 80s, first started to crop up there. It was supported by Iran, and now I think people will describe Lebanon as like they describe it as like a militia with a country because Hezbollah is just so powerful, or was so powerful, and I think probably still is. It would just be nice if Israel, like at least from the appearance of the West, and I feel like even in the Middle East, it does kind of feel this way. Israel is kind of just always going at it alone, and even the leadership, the monarchs and everything that are friendly to the U.S., like the support is like tepid at best. I don't know. All of those countries have populations that hate Jews, and that was before October 7th and the following war. There's not much Israel could do with those countries outside of normalizing relations with their leadership. This is why I don't believe you, okay? And I don't remember if you're just Jewish or Israeli, Mike. I love you. And I do appreciate the perspective. But, like, this is so embarrassing to say because I read so much about this country before going there. I did not know. I had no fucking idea that of the 9 million people that lived in Israel proper, that 2 million of them are Arab. That is fucking insane. That is like the most insane idea to me ever. When you talk about how much like Muslims and Arabs are prone to terrorist attacks and killing people and blah, blah, blah. Like what better part of the world than Arabs and Jews literally living fucking next to each other where the other 2 million Arabs are direct descendants of people that are currently being oppressed or apartheid or whatever, right? But they don't, right? They all seem to get along with each other pretty well. They do, which is amazing. So the idea that Israel has no way of making the people in these neighboring countries like them, while the monarchs are all basically sold out to the United States and at the very least from the leadership will maintain relations. I feel like there is an opportunity there. There must be some way that Israel could make nice with the people next door. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if it's like fucking, if they have to go on camping trips together, state sponsored, or if they have to fucking bring back the animal Darfur dude, not that guy, whatever the fuck the guy's name was, but have like a Jewish Muppet too. Like, there has to have been some way. There has to be some way to make these people get along with each other better. There has to be some way to do this.
They can get along with the West. Why can't they get along with Israelis?
Who?
We'll say like Saudi Arabia, UAE, yeah, like the Arab countries.
because the actual answer is the reason why they quote unquote get along with the West is because they have monarchs there that were installed when the Ottoman Empire fell, and those monarchs are largely friendly to the West. So the monarchs are friendly to the West. The people,
they like their monarchs, right?
Maybe. I don't know. It's a monarchy. You don't know. Who knows? I mean, like, it's not like they're starving. It's not like a horrible, terrible, they're not like fucked. Like it's a serviceable monarch. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know what the average Saudi thinks of like the United States, or I'm pretty sure the average Saudi or the average like Gulf state person probably doesn't have the best opinion. Like, this is how I feel it is, okay? When I spoke with Arabs from Gulf states, okay? This is like what an Arab sounds like that doesn't hate Israelis, okay? They say, we're happy that we make money, our life here is pretty good, and we don't hate the Jews, even though we do know that they control the rest of the world, sometimes in an antagonistic manner. Like, we know that they run the United States and they run everything else in the world, but for the most part, they kind of leave us alone, so we're like, okay, that's like a normal, like non-hateful, that's like the normal, or like the better than maybe even normal like Arab. That's like the impression. But if it was like a fucking war of, survival or some shit, I don't know if all of like an average Arab citizen in like a Gulf state or like an average Egyptian is going to be like, okay, Jews, let's go and fight together and it'll be great, guys. But I don't know. One thing that's also fucking annoying to me, and I don't know if they know this in Iran, but like when other countries are dealing with the United States and when they deal with Israel, they always seem to be very aware of our current politics. So when, arguably, one of the reasons why the Taba Summit and the Camp David Accord, or the Camp David talks and everything with Clinton failed is because Arafat knew that Clinton was on the way out and he wanted to talk to Bush as soon as he came in. He knew that. And that was the thing that he waited for. And I think when Rabin, was trying to negotiate, No, it wasn't Rabin. It was Ehud Barak was trying to negotiate with Arafat. I think Arafat also knew that. It was like, oh, I'm going to wait this one out. I'll see who comes in next. You look like you're in a kind of fuck position. And I think Mahmoud Abbas, has referenced this with Olmert when they were negotiating. Everybody always seems to be keenly aware. I don't know.
Just wait for the next one.
Yeah, there's like a flip where the Arabs seem to learn. I say this a lot with their propaganda, with the whole like Bollywood and everything. They seem to learn like the language and the politics of the West, but people in the West, or at least Israel, just seems like kind of fucking retarded. I don't know when it comes to dealing with the Arab political situation. Like they think that they're still children, or they think they're all retarded still, and they can't do politics, which was true, 80 years ago. But I don't think that's true anymore. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
How does the U.S. like fight back against that if they're just waiting for the next president?
I mean, you have a good deal. You have to find ways to apply pressure that's outside of like just your leadership. Like bringing other countries on board, bringing other Arab states on board, or other Arab leadership. Yeah,
you make a good deal. Like you incentivize it.
I think arguably Iran played this game because I think they fucking hated Jimmy Carter, and
yes, they did.
It was the day I think that Reagan was sworn in. That's when the massive hostage thing came to an end, and they released everybody. Yeah, which kind of undermined Carter a lot. Yeah.
Just a quick thing on the Israel-Lebanon thing. I was a little spicy this morning talking about it and got into it in chat with some people. And I learned a lot, had a good discussion. I appreciated everybody. But I just wanted to ask you something really quick on this. So, like, Iran is saying, oh, Hezbollah is our special boy. If Israel attacks them, it's a violation of this agreement, right? Mm-hmm. If the U.S. turns around and says, okay, sure, but that's the same for Israel. If Hezbollah attacks Israel, or you attack Israel, it's a violation of the agreement, right?
Iran wouldn't make the deal. But,
well, right. But it might not.
I think they would. But go ahead.
You think they would?
For temporary, for a little bit, sure, why not? For a little bit.
Well, because the thing to me in that point is like, if Israel gets attacked by Hezbollah currently under the deal, it's like Israel's supposed to just take it, which like is especially since Israel didn't sign on to this deal, is a pretty unfair ask. If Israel signed on, tough shit, take it. But like, if it's not reciprocal in that way, it seems kind of stupid to accept Israel to accept that. But if they both accept it, it actually seemed like a pretty good solution, because then if Israel gets attacked by Hezbollah, Israel and the U.S. can go to Iran and say, what the fuck? And Iran can say, whoa, 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 we didn't sanction that. Fuck Hezbollah. And then it's fine to respond. But if Iran says, oh, yeah, we did sanction that, we're fine with them hitting Israel. They're like, okay, great. Now Iran has attacked Israel in violation of this agreement. And like theoretically, there's some international legitimacy to them then fighting with Iran rather than just kind of what it seems like now, which feels a lot more like one-sided them attacking Iran. I mean, I know this is kind of an optics cucked position, but it's like, if there's any hope of us getting any kind of international support to help us in a fight against Iran, we need to start somewhere with something, right? Does that not make sense?
The problem is I don't know what you mean when you, like, there is no, like, this region just doesn't have, like, international support for anything. Like, none of the rules, like, really matter that much, but what do you mean by...
Well, like, well, like right now, the international community is really upset about the Strait of Hormuz being closed, right? But really, it's mostly focused at the U.S., I feel like, because we did this. We caused this to happen, essentially, right? Like, but if we say, okay, great, now we found a way to close it with Iran, or we found a way to open it with Iran. It's open again, everybody. We're all happy. And then Iran does something to reclose it, and we can say, look, clearly Iran is the one that caused this to close again. Then there's more likely that we can get an international coalition to try to get it reopened. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying that this is like the thing that will do it, but like this is a building block to build up systems in a way internationally so that if Iran acts out, or if Hezbollah acts out, there's a way to respond to it without giving Iran the option to close the Strait of Hormuz, or to get an international community to fight against them for closing the Strait of Hormuz, instead of us just doing it just unilaterally without any support. Does that make sense as kind of like a structure, at least?
Wait, I don't understand.
Oh, okay.
All right, can you... What are we trying to prevent or whatever, or what?
Do I need to wait till you're done fighting the boss?
Well, no, I'm trying to... I just don't understand.
No, okay, I'm saying right now, it seems like we are like basically standing alone with Israel fighting Iran, and everyone's looking at us like, you guys are fucking stupid. The Strait of Hormuz closed because you guys did this, right?
Yes.
We want it to reopen.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Now, Iran is saying, as part of the conditions for it to reopen, y'all can't attack Hezbollah. And I'm saying that seems like an untenable thing because...
And by y'all, you mean Israel, right?
I mean, Israel and the U.S. can't attack... Yeah, Israel. Sure.
Okay,
Israel can't attack Hezbollah because we're not doing it.
Here, okay,
okay.
This is like why I'm having a hard time, I guess, understanding, it's hard for me to factor this in. Okay, you remember when the Houthis were attacking ships, and they were like making the claim that that they were attacking ships because the ships were like going to Israel to support the genocide or some retarded shit.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't like the Houthis didn't have the right to just start attacking random ships because of another war that was not related to them at all. That just is fucking retarded. They don't have the right to negotiate on that. I don't know by what right we can dictate. Like, the reality is that the regime change war that we just engaged in with Iran is just wholly and completely unacceptable on every level.
Agreed.
Like it sucks because obviously I'm in the aggressor state, but like the morally correct solution is the U.S. should leave unconditionally and just fuck off, because the U.S. had no right to engage in a massive regime change war that could have destroyed the entire fucking region for the next decade with 50 million fucking refugees if they would have gone as us and Israel wanted to. So the idea of like trying to tie some, and now not only was it an illegal war, it was a war that we sucked at. And we just showed Iran that, hey, there's like this little pain button that you can push that we kind of didn't really know how much it would work and he was kind of like a thing we didn't really explore. And now they've explored. Like, oh, we can actually fuck up the whole world with this shit. So they have this,
they want.
Yeah, they have this cute, massive fuck you button to the entire world. So like, I don't even know by what position the United States or Israel can even negotiate and say, well, how about this? Like, if Hezbollah stops attacking us, then we'll stop. I don't even know how to. I just don't know how to compute any of it. I'm not sure. I don't know. Especially because you have no international coalition with anything. Nobody's going to join the U.S. going to the Middle East to do any kind of fucking war now. I would think maybe regardless of any agreements, especially not to fucking help Israel, who's been a terrible actor for the entirety of this thing. Yeah, I don't know. That's a difficult part.
I understand what you're saying, where it's like, okay, we're starting from a position of like, we have no moral justification to be here, but we are in the middle of the war. Both sides want it to end. The U.S. wants it to end, and they want the strait to reopen. Iran wants it to end, and they want to stop getting fucked with, specifically in this moment, by the U.S., right? Those are real, specific goals that each side has. We can fuck off and do nothing, but that does not achieve the goals that the U.S. wants. It only achieves one of the two. And right now, it seems
well,
like
if we fuck off, my guess is they would. If we fuck off,
they're not going to do one of two.
Well, if we fuck off, they'll probably like ease up on the Strait of Hormuz. Be my guess. Because why would they? Because now the entire world would be like, Iran, the fuck.
I could like I don't think I disagree with you on that. I think that like I think I agree that like if we fucked off, I think Iran would like try to do their like toll bullshit for a little while, and then everybody in the world would be like, you need to fuck off with that shit.
Oh,
And
maybe. I
it
mean,
would
they
sure-
might
what are they
toll
gonna stop?
people.
How
I
are they
mean,
gonna
yeah,
stop
that might just be a thing that they have now. Like Iran is a dramatically strengthened nation after everything that we've done because they went head to head
sure.
with the U.S. and Israel, and they kind of won.
Well, but like I think it's more likely that like instead of just having like an individual toll for boats, more likely they're going to have like some kind of diplomatic resolution with countries individually or like with trade
Possibly,
blocks.
yeah.
Like the EU would 100% go to Iran and be like, all right, let's resolve this shit directly. We're not going to do an individual boat fucking toll. Like our ships are going to go through with like a specific negotiation. Now, Iran might get a favorable payment out and things like that. But like, I don't think that this administration has the ability to have the foresight to see that. They would just believe that the strait would be closed forever or have some kind of horrible toll that would be so bad that it's not worth them leaving this.
No, I don't think they would want to do that. Why would they want to do that?
Do what?
Make some horrible toll.
This administration, whenever they're going into negotiations with Iran, believe that's what Iran will do. I think that Trump and the people that are around him, they don't believe that if they leave, Iran will fuck off. Or
Oh
do some
no,
kind of
I
lesser
think
version.
they do know that. The problem is the United
really?
States has gotten itself. The United States is like your wife just walked in and you're balls deep in like another woman, and then a man is balls deep in your ass, and you guys are in like a monogamous relationship, and you're trying to salvage the situation to not only make her think you're not cheating, but to save the marriage, and you guys have to split all your assets if you divorce. It's like fuck. The problem is the U.S. has gotten itself in a completely fucked position, and it's trying to figure out how to salvage a win. I think. Like,
Do you think that 1 second? Do you think that like the Strait of Hormuz, if the U.S. leaves the Strait of Hormuz closed, like let's say we fuck off and then we're done tomorrow, we're done. Israel, good luck over there. Strait of Hormuz, it's all fucked. We're leaving. Do you think that like the administration is more like if we leave, that's such an optically bad look domestically in politics that we can't have something like that? Do you think that because like if that's the case, then like where do you think Trump and his administration's like bitter hold on we need to have some kind of Strait of Hormuz opening as part of our exit strategy? Like, what do you think that motivation is? To me, I thought it was just like, I felt like they just feel like unless they do it here, that Iran is so evil, they're just going to try to keep it closed or some horrible toll. Like, do you think what's the motivation?
There is going to be a toll almost certainly for a while.
what's the motivation for?
What do you think? What do you think that Trump and them's motivation is to have the strait reopened rather than just leave and just get out of it? And
Well, they want to have the strait reopened because it's good for our economy and the world economy and everything else, right?
They don't want to look weak as well if they leave.
Well, no, but that's what, like, I think I'm with you, Mr. Mooten, where it's like, it seems then it's like more of an optics thing. I mean, like, I guess there's like the economic benefit and things like that.
Well, I think all of their
underlying it,
European
but-
allies would be so fucking mad too.
Yeah, and it is
Yeah, but I
partially
mean-
optics, but I mean, like these are important optics, right? You're seen as like
Well, sure. So then, like, and going back to what I was saying before, I think that those, whether the optics or the economics or whatever it is, it's significant enough that that needs to happen at some point. It's conditional. These are the real things they want. And us just saying, well, we don't have the moral right to be there. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, we didn't have the moral right to get in there, but at this point, we're trying to get it done. And so then, like, what are the terms for us to get out of there? And I like when I'm saying some kind of conditional stuff around these other actors, I think that the idea that like Hezbollah and Israel would need to sign on to this, I can't see a version of it where they don't. So the current version of it is a non-starter. But I'm just saying, like, if we get to a point where it's like, okay, Israel and Hezbollah sign on to this, these kind of reciprocal non-attack.
oh sure,
guaranteed by these larger states,
I guess my question or what I'm not understanding why would Iran even agree to something that cocked?
they're getting $300 billion and all this other shit in the deal that's really favorable. to
Oh,
them.
I mean, if they get like a massive fucking payout, well then
Yeah, they're
sure.
getting 300
Oh
billion.
yeah, this isn't like the only terms. I'm saying
Oh
like
sure,
the
I haven't seen all
huge
the whatever the
fucking
reason thing.
terms.
If they're getting a
fair
massive
enough.
payout though, but then they could easily restrict Hezbollah as well, right? They could just do that. No.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is like we're saying like here Iran is your motivation to open the Strait of Hormuz. We have a motivation to pull Israel back from their actions in Lebanon, and then you also need to now have motivations to pull Hezbollah back from their actions in Israel, right? So like
Sure,
if
but
we're gonna have
that's a
all these
deal
things
that
around-
like maybe the U.S. could try to salvage some kind of optics win from that, although the whole world knows it's not. Iran and
No, sure.
Hezbollah come away from that feeling amazing, but
Sure.
Israel can't accept that. That's like.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I think that I think I'm.
But Israel can't accept that not because they're worried about like Hezbollah doing a sneak attack or whatever, but like now what you've done is, and you know what, fuck them. You know what, fuck it. I hope it does turn out this way because fuck Netanyahu for being a short-sighted fucking retard. I don't know if their
he caused all
noses
his own
are
shit.
too big or they can't see fucking 10 feet ahead of them or whatever. But like, yeah, the issue is that now Israel that just went from basically destroying every single enemy in the region and was on their shit like a year ago, now They have an Iran that is fucking supercharged, and they have a Hezbollah that they're not allowed to attack that can build up in whatever way possible. And they've got whatever the fuck is happening in Syria right now, which might represent an opportunity for expansion for Hezbollah. I don't know what the situation is right now in Syria. And then especially if part of that agreement is that Israel has to go back, south of the Litani River or whatever, they're not allowed to have that ground anymore. That just puts Israel in a really, 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 really bad spot. Not that I'm opposed to that. Fuck them at this point. I don't care. But, like, I just don't know how Israel ever accepts that agreement because they would just be completely and totally fucked.
Well, right, yeah. I mean, part of my statement earlier in A&E was fuck Israel as well on that grounds. But, like, yeah, I think it's, like, whether or not they can bring those smaller actors to the table and negotiate, that is way more complex than what they're currently looking at. I was just thinking about it in the sense of just, like, those kinds of guaranteed agreements creating international pressures and motivations seems a lot better than just like this straight up just like begging them with money and things like that. Anyways, just want to go through that. I think I see the logic from your side. You're a lot more knowledgeable on it, so I understand from your perspective on like kind of the different actors in the region.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.